This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, everybody. I'm so glad that you can be here today. So tonight is our third training for the RDAP. And tonight we're going to be talking about how to set up your binder, what forms are going to be in there, what forms we're printing for you, what makes up the kit, kind of how to set up your staging area, and then storage of your kit, which are all things you need to start considering. So, as I've said before, Tooele County Emergency Management is going to print all the forms for you. So if you've merged them, then you can send them to Becky and she will print all your merged files. If you have decided to not merge, we will print you blank forms. But we need to let Becky know, or Ashley, because they're there in Tooele County. And at the moment, I am in Oregon, actually. So if you could let Becky know, or Ashley, they will be the ones putting all that together. So the things that we will be able to provide for you is like a binder. So just a regular 3-ring binder. And if you need more, then you need to let Becky know, like if you're gonna zone your ward or if you're doing your whole stake or whatever, please let Becky know. It usually is a binder per ward or neighborhood or zone or whatever. So you need to let Becky or Ashley know that how many you might need. And then inside of it is a little pencil pouch where you can keep all of the pencils that are extra, the lanyards. I'll talk about those in just a minute. And then hi Scott. So can you close your camera and I will, I'm explaining everything and then you can ask questions after, okay? Thank you. And then also you'll get 4 binders or clipboards, I mean, and the forms for those clipboards we will print for you. You just have to cut them out, glue to the clipboards. For the assessments that we'll talk about in a minute, and also for the check-in clipboards. So you'll be able to have all those. The folders, we will get you as many folders as you need. If you need different colors, please let Becky or Ashley know. If you have them like in different zones, if you need to have different zone colors. But for the most part, any color will work. So the colors don't really matter. It's just if you have your zone and you want different color folders, but they're just, you know, regular school folders. It's the ones that we will talk about in just a minute with all the stuff for the assessment teams. And then we'll get you page dividers that go in your tabs in your binder. And there will be page protectors, alpha dividers A through Z. But if yours goes more than that, then you'll probably want to get some extra. And like some might go AG, all the way to AG or whatever, depending on how many blocks you have in your area. Then we'll have 5 page dividers for the beginning and the section manager, the section manager, shift manager, and area information officer. Then in the back, there will be the detail sheets. So, and then there's going to be some clips for your assessments too. And then the sticker sheets, which, oh, I didn't bring them. You will get yellow, red, and green that will be used for the detail sheets. And in a minute, I'll cover the detail sheets. And then you'll get masking tape and clear tape. So you can, it'll be only 1 roll but if you need more, you could go to the store. It wouldn't be too much. We'll provide a flashlight with batteries, some Post-it notes, the pencil pouch, and a little pencil box so that you're keeping all of your stuff together. And then mechanical pencils. So we have found pens can freeze and can stop writing, but pencils are a good idea. And these are the mechanical ones that extend. So we also are providing the more pencil leads and 2 sets, and then the erasers too, if you need more. So we're providing replacements for that. And then the flagging tape, which is like this. So these are all cut. We will provide you 3 rolls of each color, but you will have to cut them. And these are, I think, 18 inches or 12 inches. I can't remember. I'll measure. Sorry, I was gonna measure and forgot. But as long as it's like 12 inches, you can tie around a mailbox or a doorknob somewhere from the street that you could see these and they'd be flapping in the wind. That's all the length you need. But we'll provide 3 rolls for you. And let me see, that's it. Yes. And so, as I said before, we will print all the merged forms. If you need blank forms, we can print those too. Just let Becky know. We will also print the front of your folders for you. Tell Becky how many you need. The file is A through Z, but then we've A, B, AC, all the way to G. If you need just to U, please tell Becky. If you just need, or if you need more to AG, tell Becky, because we're really trying to not waste paper. So if you have like A to U for all of your blocks, that would be great, because then we're not printing all the rest of those information sheets for your blocks. So please let Becky know what your blocks are. So by now, after figuring out your blocks, you should know. And after printing them, you should know what letters you need to go to. Then we are also printing for the notebook. Let me go through that right now. So here's the notebook, the 3-ring binder. In the front, I put the whole entire ward map so that it can be easily referenced. I have this too, and you totally can have Becky make that, or you can do it yourself. But this is for one, like I have 3 zones in mind, so I have all 3 zones on here, but it's just so that we have reference where everything is. But if you need just for your zone, then do it. You tell Becky what, or Ashley, what maps you want printed. So here's your main one. I'd have a couple actually, because then you can reference those between all the different sections. And then for every alpha section is a map printed for your block. So like this is O. I have it by P and Q just so that you can reference where exactly it is. But there's the map that you want to have printed with your alpha section in your folder. So back to the binder. In the front, there will be information about the Rapid Disaster Assessment Plan, and see, it's got TCEM's logo. On all of these, it's got TCEM's logo. Here's the setup process. This goes in the very front. So whoever gets this binder can go, oh, this is what I need to do, and then just read it and be able to set it up right up. And so there's the setup process. And then in back of that is the quick cards that help each of the areas or the tables know what to do, know what should be on their table, how to do it. These are just the quick reference. So there's one. So the first volunteer is the most important because they're setting everything up. So there's a little more information. The volunteer 2, the quick cards, and then volunteer 3 has the quick cards. And then there's the table set up, and see there's a flow chart, or there's little pictures of all the stuff that goes on each of the tables, and then written out what needs to go on the tables. So volunteer 1 needs to know that, but you can put these on each of the tables so that they know. And then here's how to set up your binder. If you haven't watched the video that I'm doing tonight, this would be how to help you set up your binder. So all the information you would need is right in the binder. You put it in there and then store it, and whoever gets it out for your exercise or your disaster, then they could just get that setup process and just start reading and know, oh, okay, this is what I do. Hopefully you will be able to have somebody who kind of knows the drill, but you might be out of town if you're not the first one who shows up. That's what makes this program so awesome, is anybody can read this and get it set up and get right to work. So in this is also flow charts. Let me open this up. Flow charts of how things should go, and you'll be able to print those off too through Ashley and Becky. And then you have the check-in sheets. So the walk-in sheet. So anybody who walks in the building should check in so that you kind of keep track of everybody. I would say that leadership, like ward council, should not be doing this. Use your neighborhood people. This is totally something they can do. Leadership has got to figure out how to deal with the issues that come up by doing this assessment. So I would say they still check in if they come to the building, but do not send them to do an assessment. Send other people. Leadership will start counseling together about what needs to have happen. So this is a check-in sheet for all people that come in. It's really important to keep track of people. And it also is great to keep track of the time, because your volunteer hours can be sent to Tooele County Emergency Management if it's a major enough disaster. And we can count those hours, those volunteer hours, toward our match, toward any federal, what's the word I'm trying to think of, that we have to put toward before they will help, which is so beneficial. So keeping track of all of the hours, whether they're doing an assessment or not, like any of the hours, if there's some people who are mucking out somebody's basement, or if there's somebody taking care of debris, whatever it is, please keep track of those hours one way or another. So you can keep track of it on a sheet like this, or just a regular notebook paper, but it needs to be kept track of, especially in something major, like we would use this disaster assessment plan. So also, we will print you table signs that are like this, only we're going to use a green sheet and have report here. Oh, it goes start here, and then return, check in, and then report here last. So we're going to use colored paper because it's actually cheaper than printing this, like using all the green ink. So we will have those. I laminated mine because I can put it in the laminated part right here. I can put it easier into the binder, but you don't have to. You can just punch holes in it and put it in the binder. Just make sure you have it in the binder. That's the one thing. We will print all of the forms for you, but you'll have to punch them, and emergency management has some punches that you could use, or you could just do it at home. Or, I don't know, maybe take them to the, I don't know. We'll have to see if the transcript will punch them too. So in the first part is the shift manager instructions. So the shift manager will have the instructions of what they're supposed to do. And the shift manager is the first person who shows up. So the first person who gets that kit reads that first little bit and goes through the quick cards and says, okay, this is what I need to set up. And that quick card says the first person that comes sets up 3 tables and then puts all the stuff needed for each of the manager and area information officer positions. And then the next one that comes goes to that second position, and then the next person that shows up goes to the third. After that, you're pretty much set up to be taking volunteers to go out and assess. But those 3 tables need to be set up first so that it can run smoothly. So make sure that there's tables and chairs that people can sit at, and make sure that there's extra chairs that people can rest, and also for just people that need to sit down. The other thing to have is like one of those rolling chalkboards is where you can put the summary information sheets up. So if people come in saying, I'm wondering about so-and-so, they can be directed to those summary sheets, which are pretty basic, but it's a basic way of letting people know, oh, these people are okay, or they weren't home, so we're gonna go assess again, or whatever. If they're red, we don't share, you know, the extreme, but the help will be sent. So the shift manager puts out all the information and puts in, every table gets a lanyard. You can add vests if you want, because one thing we found is people with vests usually are in charge, and if anybody has questions, they can go to the people in charge. But if you don't have vests, that's fine. Just, we will print these out, but I laminated them just with, you know, you can get basic laminated lamination that you don't even have to heat at Walmart. But it's totally up to you how you want to do it. You can even get those things at Walmart, and the cards can fit in those. We will provide cords and then the prints. So those will be printed. You just have to cut them out, put them however you want. But each table gets one. Each table gets a quick card to be able to know what to do. And then also the shift manager takes the flow charts that are in here and puts it on the table. So also, so the next person is the section manager. So the section manager will have all of the folders. So once somebody checks in as a volunteer, then they'll sign in on that first sheet, then they'll be sent to the next table. The next table is the section manager, and that section manager will hand them a folder and say, okay, this is the tracking sheet. We need to put this, who you are. See on here, it's got A through AG. So I'll show you. See, it's all the way to Z, and then some, just in case you need it. If you don't, that's fine. But I put every up to HE. So whatever letter corresponds to the letter on the side. You see that? So if you have it zoned in, like we have O through Q for one zone, so this would be, we put it O through Q, but this is where you keep track of when they go out and when they come in. So the section manager should kind of be keeping track of what time. If they're longer than, say, 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how far your staging area is to the neighborhood that they're walking to, then they kind of need to go to the shift manager. They haven't been back. We might need to send some people out, but always keep track of whoever goes out. They need to make sure they come back in and check out. So do you see on here, it says time out and then time return. So always keep track of the time and keep track of people. People and time are some of the most important things you can keep track of. So that's part of the shift manager's or section manager's job. The section manager will also take out the summary sheet. So we have these printed. If you have them merged, the address will already be in here. So the section manager will take this out and keep it till the assessment team returns. That way they know who's out and they can remember a little easier because they'll keep track of, oh, they went out at this time. Maybe we need to send somebody out to see if everything's okay. The thing also the section manager will say is, this is a rapid assessment and it needs to be done quickly. If somebody needs help, then help will come, but they need to assess the whole block first. So if you have radios, use them. If you don't, that's fine. You can send somebody else, or you can just wait till you do the assessment. If they're seriously, like no breathing or whatever, that's a hard thing because you want to save somebody's life. But you never split up an assessment team. You always are together. So you could get a neighbor or whatever to go tell the information, or you just need to leave them. It's a big, huge disaster. And this is the worst part about CERT when I teach CERT. We cannot help everybody by doing CPR. We could be saving lives if we just move on and assess more. So that's a tough thing. It's your call, but remember, this is a rapid assessment for a disaster. Hopefully there will be people around that might be able to assist, but we need to assess the whole big picture. That's the whole point of this. Let's get the big picture, then we take care of the really serious things. But without knowing the big picture, then you might be helping some people that are not as serious and down the way could be more serious. So assessment, that's the key. The instructions are right on the front, and there's also a sheet that's a little more detailed in here. Let me find it. That goes through exactly what a team needs to do, what they need to be looking for, how they need to assess. If there's somebody that doesn't want you to come into their home, don't. You are not a first responder, so you're just assessing. Just make a note on your assessment sheet, so that's in the folder. Just make a note, say they wouldn't let us in, and move on. This is rapid. This is an assessment. And then everything will be reported, and then you can start doing what needs to be done. But this is just an assessment. It's not a rescue. It's an assessment. And that's one of the things that's hard for some people to understand. But without knowing the big picture, you can't always manage the actual thing that needs to happen. So it's really important that the shift manager explains this is a rapid assessment, and always your safety is number one. Those are the two things to really stress by the shift manager to the section manager. Stress, stress, stress the safety. Always coming to. If you are in a situation that you can't assess anymore, come back and report it. So then you could report it to the emergency management, and we can know how to take care of it. If there's something so serious you can't even get to those houses or whatever. So, but we can't know until you report. So this really helps emergency management because we cannot be in all the neighborhoods all at once. But you can be in your neighborhood and you can help where the help is needed. And for the most part, you'll be able to help your neighbors. That's exactly what neighborhoods do, especially like lately. You guys keep having flooding issues and storms, and we're dying of heat here in Oregon and Idaho. But I know the neighborhoods are coming together to help each other, and that's exactly how it should be. Doing the exercise would help you to be able to know in advance where the extra special needs would be, and that would be so helpful for you. Anyway, so, and as they're going, so there's pencils also put in each of the folders, and as they're going, they assess, and they put a green if they're okay, a yellow if there's no answer, or red if they need help. That way, whoever comes back will know immediately that's where the reds are. Reds are the need help. Even if it's just a little bit of help, it's still a need help. But the greens are okay, and then the yellows weren't home, so there might need to be assessed again. So it just helps with the organization of all of it to have every home tagged one of those colors. That way you know what's going on and how to do what they need to do. So a team goes out after the section manager tells them the rules and what to do and how to be safe, and they check out. Well, then they come back to report here. So they come back to the shift manager, check in, they get their summary sheet back, and then they go to the area information officer. And the area information officer will have the instructions of what they need to do and say and what they need to look for. So they will have the binder with them because they're the person who is going to take all the details of what the assessment teams have found. So the assessment teams take their little sheet and write notes on it, like the comments. So they circle they're okay or no response or whatever, and write any little comments on here to help them remember what happened at that home. Well, then they come back to the area information officer and describe a little more what's going on. And the area information officer has this whole sheet that will be printed. You will have enough for every house in your neighborhood, plus some, because some will have to be assessed, but these are blank, so you can make copies. So they will ask these details of the assessment team. And on here, they will either put a red sticker, a yellow sticker for no response, or a green sticker for okay. And then from there, they separate them out to what needs to be where. So on those clipboards, yellow assessments, they need to be reassessed, the red. So those are the ones that are reported to if you have CERT or anybody who's medical in your area, or to emergency management, depending on how severe, you know, it's just, you don't know exactly when first responders might come. So if you can take care of what you can, then how much better, especially if you have CERT trained people, community emergency response team, you have CERT trained people, they know how to assess and do a quick head to toe, a medical, and then set up a little medical area of what they need to do. I am telling you, one of the best trainings I've ever taken is Community Emergency Response Team, because not only do I know how to help my family better, I can help in my neighborhood better, because I know there's a system and a way to organize the needed help, the people who need help, so that we can get the first responders, because they'll come, but just not right away. So I, as a community emergency response team trained person, can bandage and assess sprained and broken bones and how to splint them. I can help people in shock. I can help people with psychological, because any disaster is hard. So those are the things that we learn in the community emergency response team training. We also learn how to put out fires. It is just a very empowering class. And I would say if you can get CERT trained people in your neighborhood, you will be so much better off, because they can help. If you have medical people in your neighborhood, please know who they are, because they can help, but not always will they be available. So that's why I say, if you can get people CERT trained in your neighborhood, you are so much better off toward recovery and knowing what to do and how to help people. And we're hoping we never have to use those skills, but I have had to, use bandaging and splinting and actually transporting, because I have somebody that had sprained their ankle. I don't know if it was broken but you treat a sprain just like a break. And so we splinted it, and then we carried her up the trail, because I had a tarp and we transported her up. So you just never know when you're going to be able to use your skill. It might not be in a disaster. It might just be when you're out hiking. And how great would you feel if you knew what to do? So I always just so encourage people to know community emergency response team, even just basic first aid. If you know that, that's better off than most people. So anyway, these are the sheets that are important and will be able to help leadership decide, okay, this is the stuff we can do, but this is the stuff we can't do. So we need to report it up to the county, because we know that they have resources and can send them to us. So this is really important to make sure that you have as much detail as possible, because it would be so helpful for emergency management to know the detail, instead of just somebody getting on scene and having to reassess. They will reassess, but how much better is it if they know ahead of time what to expect? So these are really, really important to have detailed sheets. The other thing is the area information officer will take that summary sheet that they took out of the folder and kind of fill it in. Yes, no, so okay, no response or need help. And then tack it up on that chalkboard that I talked about. That way, if anybody comes in, there's some basic information and you can go from there. It's just a way to give people information without bugging somebody who's doing all this, because this is a lot to do. So the other thing I would say is, if you have other volunteers, put them in the area information officer, because you can be taking in information more than just one person at a time. And that would help speed things up too, because remember, we're trying to do rapid disaster assessment. And if you can be taking down the information and getting it reported to leadership and to emergency management, you're that much better to move forward in your recovery. So I would say you can get 2 or 3 other people to be part of the area information officer. And if you want, you can make little lanyards for them too. But it just would be helpful to have more people than just one. But to start, just one at each table to start. And then if you get more people or need more helpers or whatever, you can assign more to that section. So in the binder, all of those detail sheets are in the back there for the, for that area information officer to keep track of. And all the greens stay there. All the reds will go with the red assessments, and all the yellows will go with the yellow assessments. But the alpha file folders, that's how you keep track of all your greens, so that you keep the greens all right here, because every bit of information is actually very important. So we want to keep everything, and we want to make sure we have the right information and kept safely. Let me see, one more thing I want to talk about the binder. Where, let's see, where did it go? In the little thing will be all the stickers that it'll be available for you to do the stickers on the detail sheets. So it just makes it easier to do stickers. If you run out, you can just X the box. But how much better is it to be able to see the color on the box and put it where it needs to be? But you don't have to have a sticker. I'm just saying, if you run out, then that's the way to do it. Or you can find a green marker and a yellow marker and a red marker and just put a little circle or a big red X or whatever. So all of this can be tweaked to how you need to have your whole setup. It doesn't have to like be set in stone. If you feel that there's something that works better for your area, do it. I would say the more you can make it yours, the better it will work. That's why I'm hoping that you guys will want to do the drill exercise on the 11th, because during the exercise, for your exercise, we'll send people out not to assess a disaster, but to get into with people and talk about what resources Tooele County Emergency Management has. So I'm working on the brochure, but my sister's internet was not working right. And so it just didn't happen like I wanted to by Wednesday, but I will have it by next week for sure, because I'll be home by then. But everybody is gonna, every house is gonna be asked, would you like to be put on the Tooele alerts list? Because it is an opt-in thing. We can't like just do a reverse 911. It's an opt-in thing. And the people going out to the homes will share the advantages of being part of that list and take their phone number and their email and their name. And that will help Tooele County Emergency Management be able to get information out to the people when they need to. So they can refuse. They don't have to be part of it, but we're hoping that we can put more people into that Tooele Alerts notification system, because it will help. If a whole neighborhood can get the information at the same time, how much better is that than just a few? Because you'll want to be working as a neighborhood. So we will have a little script that you can just read. We will have our Tooele County Emergency Management logo on everything. So even for the exercise, so the exercise things will have, as they do it, they'll have the Tooele County Emergency Management logo and the Tooele Ready logo. And then this yellow highlighted, it says, get their name, email address, and phone number for Tooele Alerts notification. And that's what you'd put in this stuff right here for the exercise. So all the exercise sheets are highlighted with yellow. So even the, see, it's, if you're going to participate in the exercise, it will have yellow highlighted, and we will print it out for you. So you don't have to use any of your rapid disaster assessment forms at all. You just keep all the folders and stuff together, but you don't have to use any of the forms. You will probably need to use the pencils to write, but everything else is ready for when a disaster happens. Let's hope that doesn't happen, but it's ready. And like the lanyards and the quick cards and stuff can be reused. And we're giving you extra pencil leads and extra erasers if needed. So we want your assessment kit to be ready for when it's needed. So that's why we're printing all the exercise stuff. So that, I don't know if you got Ashley's email today that she said, let me find my phone. She said, if you are wanting to do the exercise, or if you're wanting us to print and do your merging, we need everything in soon by August 27th in order to get them all printed in time for the exercise. Because we're getting pretty close to September 11th. We want to give people enough time to be able to get it, have us be able to print them, and then you to be able to put your kits together, what we're talking about tonight. And although being part of the exercise is not a have-to thing, we would so encourage you to be part of it, because this will, two things. It'll give you an opportunity to play this out and find little gaps. Oh, maybe this might work better next time we have a disaster or whatever. The other thing will give you an opportunity to practice your communication up. I'm telling you, communication is always the failure. And so if you can address those things before a disaster, you are going to be so much better off. And this will help you address that failure part. The communication is always one of the toughest things that any disaster, even their first responders, have communication issue. That's why we're using the amateur radio. So we're hoping that whoever does participate uses their amateur radio people to communicate within your neighborhood if needed, and then up to emergency, the EOC. So we won't be at the EOC, but the amateur radio will be on their frequency, and each area has a certain frequency, and each area has their own net control. So I will be sending that out, the information, the frequency, out next week. So actually I can send it out this coming week so that you can know beforehand, because I know some of you haven't quite decided if you're going to be part of the exercise, which we're not making you, but this will be so beneficial for us too, because it helps us work through our issues on our end too, because we will all have issues both ways, but we know that's why we have exercises and little tabletop exercises and stuff, because if we can work it through those issues, it's so much better and so much easier when it really happens, or when we do our next exercise, because we will have addressed it. It will have come up and we'll go, oh, okay, this is how we're going to fix it for next time, and how so much better it works. We put up a little zip line at my sister's this weekend, and doing it the first time, we totally made some crazy decision, like how to do it. If we did it again, we'd know better how to do it. We just had never set up a zip line and didn't know exactly how it was set up, even following the directions. So, because everybody's, zip line area is different, hers is definitely different. So now we know. Now we can set it up so much quicker and so much easier. So doing it one time even is so much better than not ever having to do it before, and having to do during a disaster is just so much more stressful. I'm not saying that it's not stressful anyway, but how much less stress can you make yourself by doing the exercise? So really, I hope that everybody wants to be part of the exercise. We're going to put it out on social media. that emergency management is doing that exercise for the service day. So it's totally up to you. But we hope that everybody takes advantage of how Tooele County Emergency Management is paying for all this stuff and doing your printing and helping with your maps and all that, because it just makes so much sense. And not only will it help your neighborhood, it'll help Tooele County Emergency Management be able to get the information that we need from you, because really we just cannot be everywhere. We need to see the big picture, because there's a lot of neighborhoods in Tooele County. And when we can see a bigger picture and we can get communication from the neighborhoods, we can send the right resources to the right places, because that's what emergency management is. We're not the responders, we're the resource finders, and we're the resource senders. But we aren't the response. We help the response. And that's why we really want neighborhoods to do this plan, because you're assessing, knowing what is going on in your neighborhood. And if there's things that you can't do, let emergency management know, and we can get the resource you need. So I really am hoping that you spread the word about this opportunity. So, the other thing that we will pay for is a tub to keep all your folders and all your clipboards and your binders and all the stuff in your pencil box in that tub. And then you need to figure out where your staging area is. So if it's at a church or a clubhouse or somebody's house, you need to figure out where to store that kit and how people are going to access it. So, and there is no wrong answer. The only thing I would say is, in a church, just make sure somebody's got some keys or can access into the church. But like I was going to have in Stansbury when I lived there, I was just going to have the kit in a Rubbermaid tote, ready and accessible in my backyard. And even if I wasn't there, people could just go in my backyard, get the kit, and read the directions and start. So one last thing I want to say is, it's really important that your neighborhood knows you have a plan and where the staging area would be, because that's where the help will be. Usually if you have somewhere where people know that they can go, then they'll come and say, this is the help we need, or what can I do to help? But people in your neighborhood need to know, not just members, everybody in the neighborhood needs to know. So like for the exercise, we are going to make little kind of little invitations that you can pass out to every house in your neighborhood and say, please participate with us at this location on September 11th at 9 a.m. And we're going to do the rapid disaster assessment. And so really basic, but lets people know this is where we are going to show up. This is where there will be help. This is where we'll be able to volunteer. And how much more confident will a neighborhood feel if they know there's a plan and we know where to get help, or we know how to help? Because a lot of people will be able to help, but if they don't know where to go help, then that's a struggle. But if they do, they can go help, and you guys can get stuff done just in your own neighborhood, because people know. Most people, so like in 9/11, when the towers fell, there's a little tiny church down by the Trade Center, and tons of people went there because that's where they felt safe. They could pray together, they could help one another, and that's where people normally go, is to a church. So churches are a great place to do a staging area. But if you're like in my neighborhood and your church is far away, do it somewhere in your neighborhood. It is totally fine. Just make sure that people know that's where it is. So that's one of your jobs to do, is to work on that staging area and to make sure people know about it. So let me look at my list and make sure I've gone over everything, because I don't want you to not know. Oh, storage. Make it easily accessible. Like I said, mine was just open my back gate and they were in my bushes right behind my back gate. If you store it like somewhere that's locked, like in the library or whatever, that doesn't help. So it needs to be accessible. And a tub is like this wide, you know, so you need to have it. If you're doing it for your steak, you might need bigger tub, and you need to let Becky know. But for a regular size tub, for most areas, that's about the size you need. So find somewhere to store it that is easily accessible, and outside is fine because it's just paper. Really, that's all this is just paper and pencils. Just some pencils, but that's why we're using pencils. Pencils can be stored outside. Pens will freeze. So most of it is just paper. And if you decide to use radios, store them somewhere, you know, inside and then distribute them. But I would say just make this as simple as possible. So it's there and ready to go. That's the thing about this rapid disaster assessment plan, is it doesn't take too much maintenance. You can make it and then let it sit. Although I would say make sure that you go through the Ward State Emergency Planning Guide and make sure that you check off all those things that you will need to know. The other thing is, we have also made a form that's a lot like the church form, and I thought I printed one out, but I can't find it, so I must have left it home. That is a lot like this, but the church wants to know about people. We need to know about places and more like what shelter needs you might need, or what debris management, or any resources that we can help with. So we have a little bit different form, but it's a whole lot like the church one, because we know you'll have the same information reported up to your church leadership. But there's a few more things that emergency management will want to know. So I would say this plan is part of your emergency planning guide. It's a part, it's the communication part of during a disaster, but there's still stuff you need to do beforehand. So go through this because it's really helpful. Is there someone that's knowledgeable on which words cover which area? So yes and no, Jessica. I can help you find out where you will reach out to, okay? Thank you for asking that, Jessica. I will get with you, okay? So let me double check again. Remember that leadership needs to not do this, have your neighborhood do this, and everything is available that they can just read it and get to work. That's what makes this so great. I don't know if you've taken the opportunity to look at those other documents in the Google Drive, but it would be very helpful for you to read it through so you can see, but they'll be all printed. All you have to do is punch little holes, although I'll see if the transcript can even punch the holes, we'll see. And put them together in your notebook, put the folders together, put the tapes, this, you know, get your kids to help you, just string, cut, as many as you possibly need. And you put one of each color for every house in the alpha zone, because it could be one of any three of these. So one of each color for every house in the alpha zone. And if you need more, we can help you with that, because they're not terribly too expensive, but the rolls are like this big, but it's really thin, so it makes a lot. But it takes some time, you know, your kids can help, or your youth can help, which is a great opportunity for the youth to be part of this. You know, they can help put the folders together, the alpha section folders. That's a doable activity that somebody can do. So you don't have to do this alone. And we are really trying to help make it as easy as possible for you to finish your RDAP plan and be successful with it. So now I'm going to open it up for questions, and I will answer any questions that you have. So if you have any, thank you all for being here. If you have any, Jessica, I will get with you to help you answer your question. But any other questions that you might have that I can answer? Well, awesome. I must have explained pretty good, and I hope I did. If you do have any questions, I'm available through email, and even if we want to do a GoToMeeting like this, I'm totally willing to. And Ashley is available, and Becky can answer some questions too. So really, we want to make this as easy as possible for you to get your rapid disaster assessment plan, because then you have most of your plan done. Because most of the rest of the planning guide is like, find out who your special needs are. So that's why this might be a good exercise to do, so you can find out where your special needs are, because those special needs are everybody's problem. Like, you're going to need to know what resources you might need for those special needs, and emergency management works on that. So, Scott.
Yeah, Robin, when we were doing the merge of files, we found a glitch in one of the pages where there was 2 11s. So, and it was on the sheet for the exercise on September 11th.
Oh, it's for the exercise?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't recheck those. I rechecked the other ones, but because I'm like, that wasn't the important part till the exercise came. But good to know. I will check those and fix them. So sorry, but we can make sure to fix that. Thank you for letting me.
There's two number 11s, and then it gives you a fault, you know, saying it doesn't want to import.
Okay, that's good to know. Let me write that down. Where'd my pen go? For the exercise. Do you remember which one?
It's
okay,
one of the two that you import, but I know that it was there's 2 number 11s, and so it tries to duplicate the address.
That's actually easy to fix. You just take one out. So, or put the 10. Was there a 10?
It skipped over. Yeah, so I think
that's what it was. Maybe that's what it was. I just put an 11 instead of a 10. I was just too excited or something. So yeah. So it's easy to fix for on your end too. You just change the number in it, and it'll do it. So sorry. I will get it looked at.
Okay. Yeah, we were able to merge the information over. Finding that I'm having to, well, make some changes to the maps to make them a little bit easier and have an overall map like you had on your binder, so that at least probably in our circumstance we may need to have an overall map and then a smaller map.
And that totally works. Like I said, you tweak it to how you need it. Because really, this is not set in stone. We got all of this information from the state because they came and did a presentation for us, and then Lane, I can't remember his last name, made the forms, and we just tweaked them for us because it was a little easier to just, and so maybe in my tweaking, I forgot to put 10 instead of 11. So we're just trying to make it easier, but you can tweak however you want. If you want to make your maps different, go ahead. And we will work with you. So Ashley, if you need to reprint your maps, we can do that.
Oh, I haven't printed anything yet, so
Okay.
we
Well, that's
realized
probably
we needed to
smart
make
because
changes before we got.
tweaking things takes a while. Yeah, it's like our little zip line thing. We had to redo a few things, and we're like, oh, if we would have just known this before, then we wouldn't have had to. But doing those little things helped us to understand, oh, this is what makes it better. So yeah, so awesome. Any other
Okay.
question?
Well, thank you. Really grateful you guys are doing this. So it's really nice.
Well, we appreciate that you're doing this too with us. So thank you, thank you. And I will be sending out the link to this video. So if anybody needs it, it will be on our YouTube channel. Any of the training will be on our YouTube channel. So even if people aren't doing it right this second to do their rapid disaster assessment plan, we have all of this information available on as training. So share away. And really, if you have any other questions, just let me know. Just call me. Okay?
Oh, hey, Robin,
Yeah.
how long will it be available that you guys will print and do what you're doing now as far as helping people? Will that does that end after September 11th, or is that?
No, so we will have it available for a while, I think, but we can't continue to keep doing it because it actually makes more sense if we have more people do it at the same time than one at a time, because it's not cost effective for us. I mean, we're still a government agency that really doesn't have that much money, but we can support our community, and this we felt was really important because it in the end helps emergency management too, because then you know how to take care of your neighborhood, you know how to contact emergency management. So it's a win-win for everybody. So we felt for the money that we normally use to do our like our outreach, this is our outreach money and utilizing it to help neighborhoods. So yeah, so I will find that out and make sure, but probably, we'll be able to for the next month. But we really wanted to push it so that we can have people participate in the exercise, because probably our next exercise probably won't be till April, So maybe we can do another push in April because the shakeout is in April. And so that's our next big time for emergency preparedness. We try to go around National Preparedness Month and then Shakeout Month. So,
Okay,
but I will find that out.
awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for your questions and thanks for helping in your neighborhood, because really it's in the neighborhoods is where that's where the help is. We can send resources, but we can't do everything. So thank you. So any other questions? Okay. Well, have a good rest of the night. I will stop the recording.